goal frustration and role frustration and soul frustration. These are the magic things to know to up your game in life. Your soul frustration, to take it first, is your moral value set. You are at war with yourself if you are not decided on your ethical course in life. I call that soul frustration. You are at soul fulfillment when you are in agreement with yourself, your moral values. I had a guy watching some of my videos who he reached out to me about the fact that he started improving his life, and then he came over. He saw a family in a barbecue restaurant where he was eating his OMAD meal, and the machine wasn't broken, or the machine was broken, and these kids of this family were getting all these toys for free. And he notified the parents of it. The parents didn't do anything. So he, in a fit of anger, went up and told the management and said, "They've been stealing from you." And then the manager went up and locked out the machine, and he was so mad because he felt the parents knew, and they should have morally objected to their children getting free stuff, not paying for it. But they didn't. By doing what he knew was right, he was no longer in soul frustration. He was doing and acting upon the moral imperative that he knew he needed to act upon. That's soul fulfillment. And then there is role fulfillment. This is where your job comes into it. But I always distinguish between a job and a work. A work is what you do that is significant in life. It gives you meaning. And if you have a sucky job, my friends, that's how you really, really will hate your life. Because if you're not doing what you think matters, you'll be miserable. And that's called role frustration. So that's role frustration. When you're doing in life the thing that you don't feel like you were meant to do. And for those of you who are younger, who are starting out, you're going to feel that a lot because you don't have a skill set yet whereby you can project your vision of the world onto the world. And you're going to be angry, and you're going to be frustrated. But remember, it's temporary. You're going to have to build your skill set, and you're going to have to up your game. But you can't do that until you are of greater value, because money changes hands when problems are solved, and your value will increase if your skill set increases. But how does role frustration and soul frustration interact? Because again, value, if you can't perceive it with yourself, it's going to destroy your goal frustration. And that's the final element. The goal frustration is what you wanted to do in life. How do you do it? Well, life will show you how. Life will put you in the right position to do the things you need to do. And this is why it is so very important to develop your skill set and to do what you're meant to do here. And again, life will open those doors, because every time one door closes, another one opens. And you start doing the things that you're doing. But, mark my words, if you're doing the thing that you shouldn't be doing, you will be miserable. And we're not talking about those of you who are finding yourselves. We're talking about people who have been working a long time and are doing something they find atrocious, or who aren't making progress in life. And that's, in the book of Exodus, we read about the children of Israel wandering through the wilderness. That's kind of how it is in life when you're going nowhere. You wander and wander and wander. You keep repeating patterns in your life of things that you already did, and you're just doing again because you're not actually moving forward. That's tough, because it starts to erode your self-esteem, and it's like drips of a little water on your head. Chinese water torture. You get a little drop on your head, and eventually it becomes like a hammer. That's the way it is when you're doing things that you're not meant to do. Your patterns become self-destructive, whether it's eating or working or doing whatever it is you do. So you have to make absolutely sure that what you are doing is of value, and that you're doing what you need to do in life goal fulfillment as opposed to goal frustration. Because remember, role frustration and soul frustration equal goal frustration. And that's what destroys your life. That's what causes all sorts of problems with overeating, with ill health. All of those things destroy your life. And the only way you can prevent it is, of course, to break the cycle and realize what you're doing wrong and realize what you are here to do. How do you find that out? What is the thing you have always done without anyone putting you up to it? What is the thing that you went back to even when, just because you wanted to, because you found it fulfilling? The thing that you would do if you had no money, but just the bare minimum of living, because you find that it defines you. That's what you're supposed to do. Usually between 13 and 17 years old is when you discover that. All the way down to sometimes much later in life. Sometimes people are 50 or 60 and they don't discover what they're supposed to do. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just make the changes. And remember, goal fulfillment is based on soul fulfillment and role fulfillment. You can't have everything intersects. What you're doing should be a work, not a job. And I'm not talking just about secular, something you do to get a paycheck. I'm talking about what you do to contribute. So, in short, I guess we're asking here, is your whole life lined up? If it's not, why not?